Hey guys, welcome to Celia's Playlists. I am here today with Flann, who is an internet musician from Nashville, Tennessee. And Flann, I am so excited to have you here. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We just got like decent weather for once. I get not for once, but for like the past week, it's been a little cold, so it's nice to have the semblance of spring. How are you today?
I'm good. It's up here in New York. It's also like nice weather. I've been finally able to make videos outside again. I love making videos outside because I love natural lighting, and it just, if it's a day I can do that, it's a good day.
Absolutely.
So, Flan, tell me a little bit about, you and your background, because I know that you're an internet artist and I know that you're in Nashville, but what else is there for us to know about you and what you create?
Sure. I was a touring guitarist and bassist for a lot of different acts. And then I did a brief stint where I did a little bit of military service so that I could pay for some college. And now I'm back in Nashville going to Belmont University, trying to learn how to be the best producer and studio engineer that I can be. Flan is sort of a project of everything that I've learned on my time as like a singer-songwriter and then playing music with live acts and stuff like that, and taking it into a little bit more of a electronic approach, which is what I would consider like an internet musician, where previously I was kind of corded with like a guitar or a bass. Now it's very much free form and just letting my creativity go wherever it takes me.
I love that because I feel like even right now, even if you did have like the chorded stuff, there is so much flexibility in genres right now, and I know that
Absolutely.
as an internet artist, you also go into like the alt pop space, and I think that that's like very big on the internet right now, and I think it's a great area for people to be producing in. So,
Yeah, shout out
what made
SoundCloud rap back in 2016, starting the movement, right? Like
oh
that's,
yeah,
or I guess even 2012. It's crazy how much the
it goes
landscape has
back.
changed.
Like all of these things go back, even social media. I was on YouTube in 2007. Like, all of everything goes back.
Right.
But tell me a little bit about where your sound comes from because I know that you create your beats as well. Like, so
Yeah.
where are those influences for you?
So in high school I listened to a lot of like trap rap and hip hop and stuff like that. The a lot of the touring acts that I was in where I was playing bass were like hip hop based. So I've always kind of been in love with that style of production. That sort of like heavy 808, heavy hi hat, like triplets and claps instead of snares and stuff. Like I've really liked that sort of electronic bass driven production. And back in 2020, when the pandemic happened, we were all stuck inside. I was exposed to a lot of like, more alternative sort of sound cloudy music called hyperpop, especially in the form of like 100 gex and artists like that took that hip hop style production and then added sort of an emo flair to it and sort of like an alternative pop flair to it. And it was something that I resonated with because my singer songwriter stuff and when I was touring with like bands as a guitarist was all mainly post hardcore, emo, just sort of that style of genre. So I was able to kind of fuse both of my loves into one genre. And that's kind of where my production style comes from, is hearing that become popular and celebrated. And I was like, well, I would love to do that because that's what it was like a light flipped on, right? It was like, oh, I could do that. That's amazing. So that's why I've been making it, making the music like I have, and I think that I've really delved into it, and I feel like I've kind of made my own brand of it, which is why I've been known to say like I'm hyperpop adjacent. I wouldn't say that I'm like 100 gex clone or anything like that. It's very much different, but it's very steeped in that.
I getcha. I love the cross sections and the fact that you have the playing and touring experience to bring to your writing because you also like see how those kinds of energies affect a crowd, and when you put that kind of energy into your music, it's what pulls people into listening. So like, do you see that side of it coming into your writing process at all?
Yeah, I would say where I did my military stint, I was in Alaska, and
That's cool.
I
That's a cool
had
spot.
It is. It's yeah, quite literally, it's very cool. Even in the summer, it doesn't get really that far above 70 degrees. But it was very fun and a great experience. I wouldn't trade that. Um, the location or anything. But I had gotten rid of a lot of my musical equipment because I was planning on pursuing some government work or whatnot. Kind of had lost myself a little bit up in the Great North. I wasn't pursuing music as much as I had been in the past because of various reasons. The pandemic didn't help or whatever. And it was during that time that I sold most of my equipment. And so that experience hasn't been able to really help me as much as it will in the future because I haven't had the equipment to work with that I previously had. But that was kind of cool. I think that constraining your creativity, making it to where it's more difficult to create. So I've never really been a synth based guy. I just started learning piano like 2 years ago. Um, so it that constraining of not being able to have an electric guitar with a bunch of pedals and not having a bass guitar with a bunch of like stacks of equipment and stuff like that has really I think improved my one drumming with like a little drum pad, and then two using synths to sonically create what I was creating years ago on tour has made my sound design skills better and just in general improved me as a musician. So I think that in the future, when I get those pieces of equipment again and I'm able to use them in my music, that's when I'll see the fusion more. But for now, it's been more of like a what is it called? Like an aesthetic, not an aesthetic, but like an aesthetic lifestyle, musically aesthetic. So that's kind of how I've been viewing my music, and I can't wait for it to open up. But right now, it's been a great creative exercise.
I like that that's kind of where your style comes from because a lot of what I do, I am given a box. Like, and I have to figure out how to be creative in that box. And that
Yeah,
box is how to represent, a person on film. Because I primarily work doing video production. So, okay, who's this person? What are my constraints and what are our goals? That's my box. Like, that's kind of like how you got put into your creative box. What can we do to maximize what's going on in this box?
right.
And that's kind of like how I developed my own style based off of like learning things through necessity, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I think that that's one of the most interesting ways to grow as an artist because it turns into like, your your style comes from circumstance in like a
Yeah.
very interesting and cool and different way, which sets you apart from other people.
It definitely makes it easier to get out of the box too.
Hmm.
Not to destroy your
Oh, break the
allegory.
box. That's
Yeah,
totally
break. Let's
fine.
just break the box. But no,
Break
but
the
but to
box.
put yourself into that box and then to think creatively outside of the box is to solve those issues. I think that makes you just like just to get out of your comfort zone is what makes you able to do it in so many other aspects in life. Like recently, I've been able to be perceived by so many people comparatively to how I was living when I was working in Alaska in like intelligence work, and I didn't have social media at all. And then suddenly I get social media and have been able to I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't done this project and forced myself to be creative in the way that I would have been.
I totally get that. And we actually met through Threads. So
That's right. Yeah,
Threads
we
has
did.
been an interesting and awesome place. And I know that like, this project wouldn't have come together if I didn't, start using Threads. And
Gosh, you work so hard for that too. Like you are listening to. I did one music review. I guess I did two music review threads, and I had to listen to like 100 songs and like type out like review stuff. You've had to listen to thousands of songs.
I
Like
did
it's
listen, yeah.
crazy.
Well, like it was one of those things where like, people submit all the time and they don't always even get listened to, and that's why like
Sure.
I would always respond back and like leave a comment and be like, hey, like I really like the storytelling in your music, or like the mix is really cool, or you created a really cool soundscape, because you know I'm in a music community here on Long Island, and
Hmm.
I can find people to talk about this stuff with. Like I could go right down the street, but these people may not have the opportunity or the resources to
Right.
have that kind of conversation with someone, and I'm just happy to be able to be that person for people.
Yeah.
So
Totally
that's where the
understand.
playlist project came from.
Well, thank you for what you're doing for the music community on Threads. Really appreciate that because It's nice to be thrown on a playlist and then just start seeing your views go up, just or listens go up, just because you someone was nice enough to take the time and listen to the song and then put it in a place where it could be heard. So I mean, I'll speak for everyone and say, well, we really appreciate you as a member on in the community there.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had to like, take a step back to do the Stevie Nicks project, but now
Sure.
I'm like, I'm back. I'm really excited about these interviews because, I got to meet everyone through comments, and it was a little weird of a process because I ended up like sitting there for hours at a time just responding to people and listening to music and like sorting things, but now I get to actually like meet you guys on like this interview show that I have now created. So I appreciate that like everyone's willing to even just like take the time and hop on and chat. So thank you for
Sure.
being here.
Yeah, of course.
So I want to hear more about like your process because I know that you have like obviously the background that we went into, but like when you write, do the words come first? Do the beats come first? Like how do you like approach your creative style?
Yeah. So I'm in school right now for
Uh
like
huh.
it's called like a music technology major. It's basically a DAW production major.
Uh huh.
It's a music based uh s- audio engineering degree. So like I take like classes and I have a tutor who has talked to me a couple of times about like my production style, and he was saying that you can't let the DAW write for you. So I've been challenging myself to write more creatively. What I've been doing lately is I have an acoustic guitar that I used to be a singer songwriter along like acoustic folk style stuff. So I write that way. I will write a song completely in acoustic guitar and sing it and have it prepared, and then I will try not to use the acoustic guitar and transfer it to the DAW to Ableton Live. And so that's what I've been doing lately. With more of my hip hop inspired stuff, sometimes I just sit down. I like to sit down and just kind of like create as well, not be constrained. So if there's like a real banger, like if it's making my head bob and I can't help it, then I'll just kind of write the song, and then I will write. But I always end with lyrics. I can never. It's always got to be music first. The accompaniment first has to sound strong, and then I will add my voice. Because I hear mostly vocal melodies in my head. So like accompaniment, if it gets created the way that to the standard that I want, the melodies will just come in. That's never been a difficult part for me. It's always been the capturing the shell in which the melody sits in. It's been more difficult.
That makes sense because, like, I think in vocalist, I've
Yeah.
like learned different instruments over time, but I wouldn't say that like I'm an instrumentalist. But like I've sat through sessions here at the studio watching like a song be built, and it was like a cover medley type thing. That's a lot of what people come to my studio for because I'm in with the cover band scene here, and they
Sure.
still need to show themselves on the internet and make reels and show what they're doing. And I feel like watching it be assembled from drums and then adding the bass line and then adding the guitar, you're able to add all of those dimensions to the music before
Hmm.
you even get the melody on there, and it allows you to like build your, I guess, creative foundation for that melody so that
Yeah.
you have all of those things working together rather than starting with lyrics and trying to write something around them.
I call that chasing the song is what it's been what I've been. Sometimes I'll just drop a drum beat and then I'm like, okay, now I need some sort of bass, and then I kind of just mess around, and then I sit and wait and think for a little bit, and then I add something else. As opposed to having the song in your head, you got to chase it sometimes, and that experience that you're describing is in essence what I've been calling it that. And yeah, I chase the song a lot of the times. My dad was a vocal teacher, so I feel you with like having a vocalist perspective because I started singing before I played any other instrument. It's kind of my primary instrument, if you will. So I totally understand coming into a studio with like a vocalist perspective and being like hearing it and be like, this is cool. Be the song's being built, and then you're thinking of all these things in your head and you're ready to go when you finally get there. So yeah, it's
It's
nice
a
being the
really
last.
interesting perspective. Yes, that too. Because, like, I don't know, like I've learned different instruments over time, but I feel like, you know, when you find the one you connect with, that's kind of the brain that you think and you perceive through. And that's been helping me a
Absolutely.
lot with like shooting music because I understand how the other ones work. You know, I understand woodwinds, I understand, you know, strings, I understand keys. Like I've learned a little bit of those. But like I have spoken to like saxophone players that think in saxophone. And
Right.
then it like trying to have a musical conversation with a saxophone player when you have vocal brain like is
It's really
it's
hard.
interesting.
It's really
Yeah,
hard.
it's like
Yeah.
a different language, right?
Right. Even
It's
even what I'm learning is I have guitar brain a little bit now from having played it for so long. I will talk to, like, in my music theory class, like a French horn player, and they're just on a different vocabulary than than guitarists. Even piano players are on a completely different vocabulary than guitarists. It's crazy. Music school has really just been me learning how to talk to other musicians more than anything.
I feel that because that my music school has been shooting video with musicians and being like, do the thing, what thing, do that thing that you just did in the last take. That was really
Yeah.
cool. So it's a cool different thing.
That's an
I
amazing experience. I would love to be able to do that. That sounds really fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but also like you know, when you're shooting music, depending on the style that you're shooting of music, like it could be also a lot of high pressure because if you're doing stuff with live performance and you miss something, then you miss something. But I have like an events background, so I don't miss anything.
Good.
I'm looking like out the side of my head to see what's happening over here and over here.
Wow.
It's a fun time.
Yeah.
I want to get into one last thing. You know, I know that you're going to school for music right now, and
Yep.
I would love for you to like you know talk a little bit about why you decided to do that because I feel like you know there's a back and forth about you know higher education and you know being a musician.
Hmm.
So what made you choose to go and seek you know a formal education in music?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit older than your average hyper pop artist, I guess. I'm 31, and it kind of came to the point where uh, I have a degree. I have a degree in liberal arts with an emphasis in Russian studies.
Cool.
I could have worked for one of the large intelligence agencies in the United States and make pretty good money. I took the LSAT and scored well enough to get into college, to get into a law school. And each of those steps that I would achieve the goal that I was looking for, I looked at it and I was like, I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that? Uh, Music is what I want to do. That's why I initially moved to Nashville. That's why I actually applied for the school that I'm going to in 2012, and the tuition was too high. But I applied there to be a musician. So when I joined the military, I did my thing. They give you a post 9/11 GI Bill, which allows you to they pay you to go to college, like they give you like a rent stipend. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is my 4 years to focus on myself, focus on my music, but I just want to be in music. I just want to work in music. So my music degree is attempting to get my foot in the door in the industry. If it works with Flann, that would be amazing. I would love to be creative and make music off the strength of my own music. But if not, I would love to work as an orchestrator for movies or video games, or I would like to be a copyist to start on the, you know, like the first level or whatever. I could, you know, be a session player if someone wants me to do that. I just want those doors open and to make those connections in Nashville and potentially work in music. That's the dream. I'm gonna give Flan everything I got because that is the penultimate dream, right? Like that is the, or I guess the ultimate dream, excuse me, is to live off the strength of my own music. But a happy secondary prize is to work within some form of music.
I love that answer. I just that's the end of that. Just I love that answer because you're going after the things that you really want to do, and I feel like not everyone is ready to take that step, and I'm really happy to hear that you're ready to take that step. And I've been, keeping an eye on what you're doing, and you're even doing a lot on social media right now to put, I guess, everything you possibly can towards getting the recognition for what you're working on. So I wanted to commend you on that because I've been
Thank you.
following your TikTok. Um, I have one more question for you, and it is, what would be your one piece of advice to a musician who wants to start in whatever area it may be? And you can take
Hmm.
this question wherever you want, and this will be our wrap up question for the day.
Yeah. Learn production as soon as you can. Learn to do it yourself. I would have done Flan at 18 if I had just bought like a DAW. If I just saved up $200 to buy Ableton Live, uh, I didn't, and it took me. I actually bought my Ableton Live back in 2020 to 2023 last year. I bought it last year, and I've been making music since like May. Like I released my first project in May. It hasn't even been a year yet that I've been doing this. Uh, and I've done so much just by being able to release my music. So I would say that what you should buy something that you can record, learn to do it yourself the best way that you can. Don't be afraid to spend money on the art. You don't need to spend money on the marketing. If you're a good marketer, it'll come. It'll be a bit longer, but it'll come. Uh, Make sure that you are giving it your best and create something completely authentic to you. Don't copy any more than you have to. Break the rules, do what you got to do. If you think it sounds good, it's totally valid. And then just put it out there and see what happens. Because that's my advice is putting it out there, seeing what happens, and starting now. Start now. Start now. Go buy a Focusrite. They're like $100. Go do it.
That's all great advice, and I'm so happy that we got to sit down. We're gonna have to keep up with each
Me
other
too,
like
Celia. I
after
appreciate
this.
it. Yeah, this is cool. I had a great time. This is a really cool interview.
Thank you, and you're a really cool person. I love all of these interviews because I'm like getting to know more about everyone because you only see what people show on the internet. So like it's
Right.
cool to really get to know everyone's story a bit. Flann, where can people find you and where can people follow you? Because
Sure.
that is an important piece of information to end this
Yeah.
off with.
So on Linktree, linkter.ee/Flann Music, you can find links to all my social media, but I will tell you my Instagram is at Flann, 2 N's, music. My TikTok is at Flann, 2 N's, period, music. That's an unfortunate issue. We're gonna get that fixed. And you can find me on Spotify as Flann, period. You can find me on Apple Music, Tidal, Deezer, anywhere that there's music, you can find me. So yeah.
Amazing. So thank you so much for hanging out, Flann.
Yeah, of
And
course.
I will see everyone on the next interview. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.